Hi guys, it's Emily from Novel Novels and welcome to today's video. And this is the favourite books of the year of 2023 so far. I think that's what I'm calling it. You would have seen in the title, you know me. There is only one of these books that I don't have because Charlie's borrowed it. So it kind of gives you an idea which books are in the top 10. But I would love to know, before I start telling you, I'll tell you in descending order, so number 10 to number 1. And I am actually properly rating them this time. Normally I don't do that, but I am actually rating them based on how much they've been in my memory. But I wonder, before I speak about it, if you guys can predict any that are going to be in my top 3 books of the year so far. I would love to know. There may be some surprises in this top 10, or even if you want to predict what's going to be in this top 10, if you can remember. Now, I spoke to Charlie, my sister, about this, and she was like, but you read so many books, I can't predict what's going to be in your top 10. Am I really that bad? Actually, don't really answer that. My best friends are going to be like, you read loads. I don't know how many books I've read this year so far, because that was a stat I didn't check in on. I will be doing, the next video will be my mid-year freak out tag. So that's going to be one of my next videos. So I'll answer a bit more statistics and a bit more about what books I've been reading, what's favourites, that kind of thing. That will be in the mid-year freak-out tag. But I wanted to do a nice, not too long video, but I wanted to talk about the top 10 books of the year so far. Yes, the fact that 2 of these books are being linked. Yeah, you can already know that 2 of these books are by fellow booktubers, because I would have linked their channel down below. So you already know that 2 of these books are going to be in the top 10. But can you guess if either of them are going to be in the top 3? So I'm not going to tell you. But all of these books are absolutely incredible. All of these books have been ones that have really stuck in my brain. I do wonder which ones of these are going to be in the top 10 books of the year at the end of the year. I think some of them will be, because some of them have been exquisite. But I'm wondering, this year has so far, I've read so many good books. There have been a lot of 5-star books, and it was tough to narrow it down to 10. But actually, in some ways, this year, even though it was tough, I actually found it quite helpful that when I did the video about how I wrote my books tag, I found it really, looking at that sort of video and thinking about what books have really stood out to me, all of these would have done. So yeah, let's get on with it. In at number 10 is The Impulse Purchase by Veronica Henry. This I read at the start of the year, and I think the reason why it got in on my top 10 is the family element of it. It's a book that I will probably read. I've been really hit and miss with Veronica Henry. I don't necessarily like her older books as much as I like her newer ones, but this one was something special because it had about the 3 generations of women, and that element was so special to me. You know, I've got a thing about sisters, and there is no sort of siblings in this, but it's the women that stick together and the family element that I absolutely loved. And this is about Sherry, Maggie and Rose, who are mother, daughter and granddaughter with their own hopes and dreams. And it was a book about how they all journeyed together, and that journey was just incredible. And I loved this book. It was a really good fun book. I read it in January, so it's in one of my January wrap-ups. I can't remember which one, but it's a great book, and it's one I'm going to reread. So it's one I've actually kept. All of these books I've kept. Like I said, one of these Charlie's got. That's why I've not got my physical copy of it. Now the next one in at number 9 is Felix Ever After by Case and Calendar. This is a book I read in, I think, April. I think I read this in April. And it's still a gorgeous book. I've kept this one because it's one I want Mia to read at some point. And again, it's a really good one. It's a positive book about like someone that is finding their own identity, and it's about labels, and something that's going around at the moment is the person that we don't talk about spreading their unrealistic views. And I think this one really really spoke to me, and it taught me so much about like gender identity and about sexuality and things. And it was actually, even though it's a YA book, it's actually taught me quite a lot. And it's about Felix in love, who's never been in love. Yes, he's painfully aware of the irony. He desperately wants to know what it's like to be in love, and why it seems easy for everyone but not him. And what's worse is, even though he's proud of his identity, Felix is also secretly fears that he's one of marginalisation too many. Black, queer and transgender. Is it too much to get his own happy ever after? I love this book. I thought it was really really got in my heart and made me really think about what Felix was going through, and I really wanted to hug Felix throughout the book, and I loved this book. I thought it was a really, really good book, and one I recommend to everyone. It's probably one of my best LGBTQI+ books that I've read, and it really sprung really true to me. And yes, I love my gorgeous copy. In at number 8 is a book that I was so surprised that I would love, and this is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. It's one of Gemma Books' favourite books, and she loved this series. I've got the first, I've got the third, I need the second, and I want to carry on with this series. But this is the first sci-fi book that I absolutely loved. I started reading it with my sister Charlie, and she kind of stopped, but I carried on, and I didn't expect to love this as much as I did. But I loved the characters in this. I loved that even though it was sci-fi, I really, really found myself loving certain elements and certain... Oh, even though it's about, like, it's so far in the future, and it's about when Rosemary Harper joins the crew of the Wayfarer. She isn't expecting much. The Wayfarer is a patched-up ship that has seen better days, but it offers her everything she could possibly want. A small, quiet spot to call home for a while, an adventure in the far-off corners of the galaxy. And this is about different races, different different species. It's just amazing. You've got Sissik, who is a friendly reptilian pilot. Kissy and Jenks, the constantly sparring engineers who keep it running. And it's just, you really grow to love so many of these characters, and I thought this was such an amazing book, and I can't wait to carry on the series. Now, in at number 7, and this is only 7, but it's still important. It's one of my books by one of my favourite authors, Heidi Swain's The Book Lovers Retreat. The fact that I've now got two contemporaries that aren't actually in my favourites tells you how much I've grown this year. But this is a real book lovers book. It's a book lovers contemporary book. It's a real cosy, oh my god, I loved it. It's Heidi Swain's first standalone book, and it's set out in the New Forest, I think, in Lakeside. So it's about 3 friends, Emily, Rachel and Tori, whose favourite novel is the classic novel Hope Falls, and they get a chance to go to Lakeside where the film adaptation was located, and they get to have like a holiday of a lifetime, and it's for 6 weeks, and then something happens and Tori has to drop out, so fellow Hope Falls aficionado Alex goes, and when Alex turns out not to be who they expected, the holiday takes an unforeseen turn, and these characters grow and you learn about a lot. And I loved that. For me, another thing was the way they related about the book and how they all knew the book like back and beyond. There's so many books that I've got that I know. If you were to send me up to Wuthering Heights area and up to Yorkshire, I would be able to tell you most of the lines of Wuthering Heights. I could tell you the locations. So many of my favourite classics. They're the books that I know from the back of my heart. And I would love to go on a retreat to one of these places and do all that. And that sort of that book love element and how they knew the lines and they knew it all. Like Jane Eyre is another place I'd love to go and like visit in that Bronte territory. And that was why when I saw the adaptation to Jane Eyre, how much I loved that and how much I compared it to the book. I've not seen the Wuthering Heights adaptation yet. But yeah, that sort of love, that book lover element I thought was fantastic. So I really love this. And even though this is actually in at number 6, this is Only Love Can Hurt Like This by Page Toon. I'm questioning why I put it in at number 6, but I think even though it's a contemporary and it's my favourite Page Toon books, the other books just kind of, it was so hard. It was so hard to rate them. The next ones I think were very hard. It's all depending on independent. But I've only just read this, so I think I need to really have a bit more time to think about whether it goes up in my ratings. It may well go up, but I've only just read it, so at the moment it is only at number 6. And this is Page Toon's recent book. Again, it's got lovely sprayed edges. And it's about Wren and Anders, and I've spoken about this in so many videos, so I really won't go into too much details. But it's Page Toon's latest. It's fantastic. It's a great contemporary. Talks about when love hurts and what you do for love, and it also talks about families and like step families and families are what we make it. And it was just a really, really good book, and I loved it. Now the next one is another one I've only just read, but that just, I don't know. These two I can't decide which is rating. The 5 and 6 I can't decide between the two of them. In fact, at the moment I rated this as number 5 and that as number 6, but on any day it could be either which rating, so these probably aren't the closest in the ratings. And this is about Bloodmarked, and Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn. It's one of my favourite books of June, I think. It's actually my favourites of this month so far. thoroughly love this. Again, it's the sequel to Legend of War, so I can't really go into too much details, but it's about Bree and the King Arthur's knights, and oh my god, it is the sequel, and it flipping broke me. It sent me into tears. It was really emotional, but again, it's very like a fantasy book, and it's sort of turning things on the heels, and about like, it's got the King Arthur legend bits as well, so it's a mixture of fantasy but King Arthur bits with the history, and it was a really good book. Thoroughly loved this. But so now after that, these ones are definitely, they're setting their ratings, no question. But the next one is a fiction book, but it's our Charlie's book. It's Royally Doris. It's Charlie's latest book. It's by Charles Heathcote, obviously, one of our own. Link his channel down below. It's his recent book. It got in the top 5 because it literally set me into all the emotions. Charlie says that she can't really include Charlie's books because she says that she's obviously biased because Charlie's her friend. Yes, Charlie is my friend, but this, when I looked at my ratings, when I thought about what books were going in this top 10, this book gave me all the feels. It made me laugh, it made me cry, it tied up, it's the last in this series, the Doris series, and it tied up all of the loose ends. It really, like, you realised, it goes into more depth on certain characters. It ties up all the characters' stories, and it just did it so perfectly. I read at the start of the year, I read the proof copy. I think it was a proof copy, was it? I was doing something for him. I was reviewing it for him and beta reading it for Charlie. And I got the beta read copy, and then I reread it with the full proper copy. And yeah, you can see the certain differences. But Charlie smashed it out of the hat. This is my favourite of all of Charlie's book, and it is an incredible book. And for those of you who love fiction, Harold is one of my favourite male characters ever. And Doris, you start off and you think Doris is a blooming pain in the bum, but this book really reminded me of why I love Doris. And there were so many characters in this that I loved, and I can't tell you, but it's an incredible book. Charlie deserves more people buying this, and if you want books to make you laugh and cry and if you all the feels, read this. It's fan-flipping-tastic. Then in at number 3, the book that my sister has because she's borrowed it from me, and the book I'm going to kill her because I want it back, Charlie. The Wolf Den by Elodie Harper. I love this. Again, it was one of Gem's favourite books. It was one of the books that Gem loved, and Gem was like, you're going to love it. You need a book to read, you're going to love it. And oh my god, I absolutely loved it. I didn't think I would. There were some saucy bits in it, really saucy, some violent bits, and it was an area of history that I haven't read much about. Bloody hell, it was so good. It was like, I think it's like Greek 10, it's like prostitution, it's that era of history, and it's about propriety, violence, friendship. It was a real book that gave me all the feels. I've got the next book on my shelves because Jack gave it to me, and I can't wait to read it. I'm trying to like save it for a month where I know that I need a book that I know I'm going to love. But I've also got the third one that I want, and I've got to wait until it comes out in paperback because I want all 3 in paperback. So I'm scared to start in the Golden Door because I'm scared to start it just in case that I'm going to be desperate for the third one again. So I'm trying to space them out a little bit. But I thoroughly loved it. The characters are amazing. It's a book that really hit me in all the rich ways. So actually, if you think about the fact that that's historical fiction, yeah, you're going to see a link now. How contemporary's been changed and what's changed in me. The next one is Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I read this with one of my fellow Instagrammers, Mark, and we read it. It was our first everybody read. We only read 20 pages a day. It's Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Does anyone know? I know that Madeline Miller has written Circe and this. But do we know if she's got any more books coming out? Because this was incredible. Like, it's second place, but it could, for a long time, I thought it was going to be first. That's how much I love this. And this is the Greek heroes, and oh my god, this gave me again all of the emotions and properly broke me at every point. You knew that there was going to be moments where you tears. It's about Achilles and Patroclus, and it's about their relationships, their friendships, and oh my god, it is just absolutely incredible. And it's about how they grow together, Achilles and Patroclus, and how they go off on their things. And Achilles' mother is Thetis, and it's about the Greek history, and oh, I can't describe how much I love this. It just gave me everything. Like, Thetis did my bloody head in. And about Helena Sparta had been kidnapped, and about the war, and we all know stuff about them. But this just does it in such a way, and it's got the LGBT romance, and it's just done amazingly. Like, it was just, there's a lot of violence, and it's about real love, and about how love can be different in different places. History. Oh, I can't wait to reread Circe after reading this, because people said you either love Circe or love this. I loved Circe. I love this more. This is just absolutely incredible. And now to my favourite book of the year so far. It had to be The Secrets of Heartwood Hall by Katie Lumsden. Katie, yes, she's one of ours. Yes, she's a friend. I am not biased when I say this is my favourite book of the year, because this gave me everything, and I mean everything. I could cry how much I love this. I think Charlie's might be doing something. I might have to reread it again soon, because I just loved it too much. This is one of the best books I think I've ever read in my life, and I'm not just saying this because Katie's my friend. Please don't think I'm biased. This is Victorian. This has got mentions of classics. Katie has dropped the nail on the head. She's got so many videos about The Secrets of Heartwood Hall. She has a partially deaf character who I related to. Katie portrayed that in the best way I've ever flipping read. This is disability rep in all the positivity. It does everything, and it got it spot flipping on. It got romance, it's got mentions of books, it's got the gothic feel, it's set in the gothic-y areas. It is just every flipping thing you could ever want. If you like historical fiction, if you like Victorian fiction, if you like gothic novels, if you like books that have got books mentioned in it, this gives you everything. There is no flipping way another book could have got my number one. Yes, I only read this not too long ago, but there is no way that if this book gets knocked off the top spot of the year, I'll be flipping shocked. And look, her hardback copy, you have to buy this. Look how stunning it is. It's about Margaret Lennox, and it's set in 1852. Margaret Lennox is a governess. She gets a job as a governess, and she goes off to this isolated country house, and then she looks after Louis, and there's Mrs. Eversham, and there's great characters in it. Paul the gardener, and oh my god, this is everything you could ever want in a book. If you want to know more, just ask me. I can tell you everything, but I don't want to give you spoilers. Just buy it. You have to buy it. It is the best book ever. And this video is longer than I thought, but hey ho, you know I like to ramble. So, did any of you guess right? Did any of you guess which books were going to be in the top 3? I would have loved to have known. I'm intrigued, but yeah. And let me know. So, did any of you guess it? Can you tell me what books are in your favourites of the year so far? I would love to hear. Love chatting to you guys in the comments. Thank you to all my new subscribers. I've recently had a bit of a surge on new subscribers, so thank you all to those of you that have come over to my channel. Thank you to the subscribers that have been my backup. This has been an amazing first half of the year, and yeah, I've had some health things that have come and gone, but I want to thank each and every one of you subscribers, from the new to the old to the everything that I love. I love you all. Sorry Jen for making you throw up, but you're all bloody amazing. And yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel and not subscribed yet, ring on my ding-a-ling, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.